Hello again, guys. It has been a while, and in this case, Happy New Year from Jameson and I, and here in 2019. Getting back into the subclass from 5th edition D&D, from the final subclass in the Player's Handbook with Monk, and the Way of the Four Elements.
Yes. Oh, and before we move on, just another reminder, when we do our reviews here for the subclass, it's how this subclass is improved upon the base class. Or how
Foundation building.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily how good the subclass is overall compared to everything, it's how good it is at improving the base class.
And granted, we will make comments on whether we think it's good or bad, but it won't mean our score for our scoring system is more about how it builds on the base class instead of just like how good it physically is in all its areas. This is going to be weird because that's just the creative way to put it. This is the most obscure of all the subclasses we have done so far is the way it's formatted, because every other subclass we have done different level breakdowns. You get a new ability, you get something else happens, you get a whole new named something, and then something else happens. With Way of the Four Elements, it's completely different. You don't get a new thing at this, new thing at this, new thing at this. You have one whole thing that the subclass is based around called Disciple of the Elements. And then at level 3, you get Elemental Attunement, which essentially is prestidigitation.
Basically.
Almost identical to prestidigitation.
It's like an elemental themed prestidigitation, basically.
And then you get to pick one other of these elemental disciplines, and there's a whole list of them that we're going to go over with. You get to pick one of the other ones that are available at level 3. Get to unlock a new one at 6, unlock a new one at 11, unlock a new one at 17. Each time you hit those level thresholds, you can also swap out one for a different one. The long list.
Yeah,
here we go.
We'll go the first ones up front with level 3, the options you have besides your prestidigitation off-brand.
Yep.
Probably one of my favorite ones is going to be, it's called Fangs of the Fire Snake. Basically, what it lets you do is you can cast, well, it's not really cast. When you take an attack action, you can spend a key point to increase your reach of your attacks by 10 feet. So
For the turn.
For the turn. So it's on that attack and then for the duration of your turn after that. So as long as you attack first, you're going to have that duration for the rest of your turn. Increases your attack by 10 feet reach, and it changes your damage from bludgeoning to fire damage, and it's only for unarmed attacks. So if you have like a quarter staff or something, it's not going to work. But what you can do is use it, and it changes your attacks from bludgeoning to fire damage. And once you hit, it says you can basically hit confirm is what it seems like to me, where you can add a key point on top of that to do an extra 1d10 fire damage. So it changes your damage from bludgeoning to fire, and then you can also spend extra key points, an extra key point to add 1d10 fire damage per hit. So every time you hit, you could be like, add a key point, 1d10 fire damage, hit, 1 key point.
And wait till after you make sure you hit, and then you can
because it does say when you hit, you can expend a key point.
Correct, it specifies that. Next one, super easy. Fist of Thunder's 2 key points to cast Thunder Wave, which it's alright, it's fine. Fist of Unbroken Air is the next one. This one is a little more complicated, but definitely we also think one of the better ones. So essentially you can spend 2 key points, choose a creature within 30 feet, make a strength saving throw, and they 3d10 bludgeoning damage. If they fail the saving throw, they take the full. If they succeed, they take half. Also, you can spend extra key points to increase that damage. 1d10 per. There is no limit.
Doesn't mention a limit. It just says
Math.
1d10 per key point.
Technically, not that you would, or that you should, technically at level 20 you could do 21d10 bludgeoning damage. Technically. No, like I said, necessarily why you would want to, because you had to, and it doesn't specify, unlike with Fangs of the Fire Snake, it doesn't specify that you can spend the point after you know you've hit. So you would have to, in the way, at least the way we think it reads, you would have to spend the points beforehand.
I'll probably see if I can find the official ruling and probably put it in the comments below if I find out what it is.
So if somebody, because I'm sure somebody has asked.
I'm sure they've confirmed it.
Yeah, they would have to.
Had a chance to look at it.
But besides the the bonus damage, you also, if they fail the saving throw, can push them up to 20 feet, and more importantly, knock them prone.
Other ones, Rush of the Gale Spirits. You spend 2 key points to cast Gust of Wind. Sweeping Cinder Strike, you spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands. So another, cone kind of thing here. Shape
of Flowing Water, which essentially for 1 key point allows you to shape water or ice within range of you. but specifies you can't use it to damage or trap things, which kind of takes away from something. Okay, you can make a little
you can like
box.
raise or lower elevation, create pillars and stuff like that. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think it says you can change water to ice and ice to water.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. So you can do some interesting things where like you push a guy out on to ice and you change it to water and they fall into the water, or you push them onto an ice thing and then you lower the elevation so they're kind of like down in a little pit
in a hole. Maybe
but you can't enclose. You can't trap them, like completely enclose them.
Yeah.
So it seems more of an RP kind of thing because you're not gonna really probably have too many uses of that in combat.
Right. So technically, you could like one at a time make little blocks of ice, like to walk across the lake with, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can do some interesting things with it.
Last one would be
favorite ones.
Water Whip for sure.
You can spend 2 key points. It's similar to the Fist of Unbroken Air. You spend 2 key points, and a creature within 30 feet of you can make a dexterity saving throw. On failed save, it's basically the same thing. You do 3d10 bludgeoning damage. You can add 1d10 per key point spent to on top of that. And you can either knock it prone or pull the creature 25 feet closer to you.
Yep.
Successful save, it's half damage, and they don't get pulled or knocked prone.
So not quite as good as Unbroken Air because it's pull to or knock prone and not both.
Yeah, versus push
and it's also bludgeoning damage and not. Well, they're both bludgeoning damage. I'm thinking Fire Snake does the fire damage.
It's all good.
So they're both the same damage type. So there is a lot of versatility in the options you get.
Yeah, push pull.
Level 3, especially we really like the push pull and the Fire Fang because of the reach. Because nothing's worse than having a melee class that can't hit something.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
Clinch of the North Wind for 3 key points is Hold Person, which I don't think...
Never underestimate Hold Person.
Look, there are maybe cooler spells like Shatter, which you also do get. Gong of the Summit, there's just 3 key points to cast Shatter, which is cool. But I don't think there is a better level 2 spell. Another mini-series we might go after. It's like underrated spells, best spells at different ranks. I don't think there's a better spell at level 2 than Hold Person.
You can change the flow of combat.
Flames of the Phoenix.
You guessed it.
Fireball. Being 4 key points, you get to cast Fireball. Simple enough. Mist Stance. You can spend 4 key points to cast Gaseous Form on yourself, targeting yourself, which has some RP things. It can be stealthy with Gaseous Form, which you can't be seen or whatever. If you pick this at level 11 and you hate it, you can't change it again
holding on to it for
until
a long time.
level 17.
Yeah,
so unless you've had multiple experiences in your campaign where this would be useful, you're probably not taking it.
Yeah.
The next one will be Ride the Wind. Spend 4 key points, cast Fly on yourself.
To be fair,
Fly
is really good.
Fly's really good.
You could like fly over like a cliff edge and then be like,
come
yank, and then fall. You can do some cool stuff with it, but
you could.
Fly's always good. Like,
it's always good.
But I don't know. At level 11, that's the only thing. Like, Wizards can get... I don't know. We'll go into that.
We'll get there. Wave of Rolling Earth. 6 key points to cast Wall of Stone. Is what it is. Level 17, you get 5 key points. River of Hungry Flame is Wall of Fire. Is what it is. And then the one that... My favorite, I think his favorite of the big ones at the end, Breath of Winter. 6 key points for Cone of Cold, which is 8d8, 60-foot cone.
Cone Cold is good.
All kinds of AoE damage. And the 60-foot reach is really, really good.
There is also Eternal Mountain Defense.
Oh, I missed that one. Sorry about that.
5 key points for Stone Skin.
Yeah.
Stone Skin is pretty good. But Cone of Cold seems like the go-to for me.
Yeah.
Big. And one thing, too, that I don't think we mentioned it yet, is when you're casting spells with your key points, you can increase them. But they have like soft caps on them, like
right. I saw those.
So certain abilities have like with the level 11 where you can cast Fireball, it costs 4 key points.
Yes.
Okay, so you're spending 4 key points to cast a level 3 spell technically.
Yes.
You can buff it for a key point after that, but there's limits. Like for example, at level 17, the highest level spell you're gonna ever be able to cast is level 5 version of a spell.
Correct.
So Cone of Cold, it costs 6 key points. You cannot buff it.
Correct.
You can't increase the spell level. The Fireball, you can increase it up to a level 5 spell by adding 2 key points, so it'd be 6 key points. But
10d6.
Yeah, I mean, at lower levels, you're only going to be able to buff them a little bit. At higher levels, you can only buff them up to level 5 spell slot.
It's super, super strange. Because that's it. Like we weren't taking the time to at level 6 you get this. At level 11 you get that. Well, level 17 is your capstone ability. There's really not a capstone ability.
Capstone ability is you can cast Cone of Cold.
You can cast Cone of Cold
or Stone Skin. So it seems kind of weird.
Yeah. So with that said, let's get into our scoring system. As you know, first up is
RP value.
indeed the RP value.
Not. Kind of feels bad on this one.
It hurts.
'Cause we haven't. I don't think we've given anything this bad of a score.
Trying to remember. It's bad.
I don't think so. We're giving it 1.5 because
Yeah. And the only reason why it even gets
the
that
only
half
reason it gets the half is because you get the you're forced to take
prestidigitation,
prestidigitation.
because you can do some stuff, I've done some really fun stuff with
You
prestidigitation.
literally
But,
cannot use it for anything other than RP. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. You can
Yeah.
use prestidigitation in combat, but
What's it gonna do?
what?
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Unless you're gonna-
like
unless you're gonna-
fuse on a dynamite or
Yeah,
something.
you-
I feel like you could try
I
to
go back to my. You can make that snowball and be a distraction. That's
Yeah.
that's about it.
And then the other thing is the
Shape
ice.
of water.
Yeah, the
same
shaping.
thing. Yeah, water.
That's
ice
the
thing.
only other RP, and the thing is, those are the only RP. I mean, you can always say like, "Oh, use gaseous form for RP." Yeah, okay, sure. You can.
You can
really,
technically you can
really-
RP anything, but
Yeah.
as far as like actual focused RP abilities, that is
Those
it.
two, I would say, are primarily RP based. Where
That is
fly
it.
is, you can use fly as RP, but it's mostly going to be you're using it mostly in combat or to
or
travel.
utility for travel. Yeah.
Yeah. So, 1.5.
Yes.
And,
1.5 of the.
And the
votes.
thing is too that half. It's the only reason it gets that half is because of those things we just mentioned. But that's only if you choose to take those.
Yeah. If you
You're not-
don't.
they're not given to you. I mean, the
Right.
first one is, but there's no reason for you to keep that over
Yeah,
another ability. You
If,
might as well
if you
swap
have
it.
an unfriendly DM, you're not keeping it.
Yeah.
So.
If you're like strict by the rules.
Yeah, you're strictly by the book kind of thing.
But
Don't be that. Don't be that
the
guy.
RP, yeah, RP not the best.
Bad.
You're not even forced to get something decent. Like you have the choice.
You're not
to take
like
some,
you're like here's the scraps.
Like,
So,
yeah,
no,
it's
no.
usually like level
if
6
you would
a lot of
like
times.
the scraps, take the
A lot of times the level 6 ability is like some kind of crappy RP ability. Like
Yeah.
you gain proficiency in like tools or in some kind of tool, or and you're like, cool. When am I ever gonna use this? This you're like, you don't have to have any RP at all if you don't want. Yeah. So
the thing.
combat on the other side.
Combat definitely better for sure.
Yes.
We posted a 4 on the combat side because
Might be
both.
controversial a little bit. Maybe.
But-
Everything's controversial.
Right.
It's the internet, right?
That is the whole point. If it's not, what are you doing with your life? Because both the a monk is of anything is versatile,
Yeah.
and that's what it gives you. Just an umpteen ways to spend your key points, which is
Yeah.
what the whole
Always
thing
good.
that is unique to the monk key points. And both, what we said earlier, both directly just giving you more options to spend your key points, and indirectly, passively, however you want to say it,
Yep.
both improves and further versifies.
Versatilifies.
Ver-
Versatilifies.
That's great. Somebody spell that in the comments. That'd be great. Further, does other things for your other abilities you already have, like giving, Fangs of the Fire Snake, giving your Fury of Blows reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where it doesn't it doesn't say in the book that Fangs of the Fire Snake helps your Fury of Blows, but obviously it does. So that's why it gets a 4.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then lastly, we have class synergy. Like we were just saying, the whole thing with monk is versatility and utility.
Yeah.
So, gaining more use of your key points, because your key point usage is kind of limited up front. This gives you a lot of options on additional ways to spend key points, and again, directly and indirectly impacts your other base monk abilities. So we just had to go with a 4.5.
Yes.
Just because
It's
of
a big number,
all
we
the
know,
utilities
but it is.
that you gain through it. It kind of fits thematically. A lot of the stuff, like you're doing like an air fist and like flaming fists and like that kind of stuff.
Water whip.
Thematically is pretty cool.
Because,
yeah.
all right, in all seriousness, there's only one thing you should picture when you read Way of the Four Elements Monk. If it's not Avatar: The Last Airbender, get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because essentially what it
Elements.
is.
Overall, this subclass is a really cool subclass.
Thematically, it's awesome.
It's pretty cool, but its implementation is not the greatest, I would
No.
say. Just because, like, when you're talking to a regular caster and they get so many spell slots and everything,
Yeah.
and then when you're like, level 17, you can cast one spell. It's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing you get is you can cast one spell
Yeah.
at level 17?
Keep in mind that, like, main casters at level 17 are hitting level 9 spells.
Yeah, you're hitting big boy stuff.
you're
yeah.
casting Wish
Yeah, at
and
level
Meteor
17.
Swarm. Like,
Yeah, you're level 17, you're like, I can now cast a level 5 spell.
yeah. So
It's kind of lackluster. It's a really cool subclass, though.
I said on just pure thematic and lore and the way it like sounds, it's incredible. I love it. But as far as you're right, in implementation, like actually being able to play this class, it seems very lackluster in making it actually like competitively balanced.
Yeah, and again, I think we're gonna get the most effect with the subclass is taking the utility stuff over the spells. I would say definitely the 5 I would pick by far.
Yes, we both agreed on these. One question.
Maybe tweaks one of them to get
May,
fly or something.
Or the hold person. Maybe those are the two you might consider outside
I would
honorable
say
mentions.
at level 17, I'd probably go with the fire snake, which is the increased reach.
Yep.
The gust push. I forget the name of it.
Okay.
The gust punch thing.
Yeah, not the one that lets you cast Gust of Wind. The actual
That's the push and knock
air
prone.
punch. Yeah.
So that'd be the second one.
Yeah.
The third one would be the water whip pull.
Yep.
And then fourth would be fireball. Fifth would be cone of cold.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the most optimal.
Right.
You could maybe swap once you get cone of cold. You could maybe get rid of fireball just because you would have a different version of an AOE.
Right.
I would make sure you have at least one of fireball or cone of cold. At least have one of them.
And at least one of the push or pulls.
Definitely.
Yeah. If you wanted to get rid of one of the push or pulls and take, like I said, the whole person or the fly.
Yeah. Those are probably the next.
I can see that. Those are to me. Those are the only other two that are really competitive, feasible wise.
Yeah.
Everything else is just sounds cool. You want to take it, by all means, take it. You're grown. You do what you want to do.
Yeah. But guys, that's basically our thoughts on the elemental 4 ways of the elements.
Yes.
Monk, elemental monk, Aang, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So if you have anything you want to say
Longest
about
title
this,
ever
let
in
us
the
know in the
subclass.
comments down below. If you have any stories about playing as Aang, for elementals monk, let us know as well.
Indeed.
Anything else you guys want to see? As always, guys,